Greetings everyone, hope you're having a nice fine Sunday after yesterday's episode of Doctor Who. And of course, as you all know, I did my video of my first thoughts on it, which I kind of think I should not have done and wait until actually I've done this review. But anyway, here is the review for Doctor Who, The Reality War. And, wow, what can I say? We've gone back into the bad territory now. Yes, the very, very bad territory. The rest of the season has been absolutely phenomenal. And then this episode drops. Very confusing. Very, very timey-wimey. A little bit of shenanigans. And a really sad goodbye to the 15th Doctor. A Doctor who I think should have had a little bit more time, instead of him just leaving right now. So, aka the Reality War. So we have the previous trailer with basically the Doctor being thrown into the abyss where Omega is, so they can try and get him, as we all know, from Mrs. Flood and the Irani. And then of course we open up, and of course the Doctor is saved by a magic door leading to the Time Hotel from Joy to the World. So it's actually nice to see the return of the Time Hotel, which is absolutely brilliant. I always like the fact how the Doctor is there talking to Anita, who is there from the Christmas episode, because at the end of the Christmas episode she was saying, would you like a job at the Time Hotel? You've been highly recommended by the Doctor. Which I was like, yeah, you know what? I love the fact they brought her back. So it is quite a nice way to bring something back from a Christmas episode from Shooty. I also liked a couple of mentions and stuff, like that he fought against Goblin Kings. He actually walked in a Chamber of the Beast from Series 2 or Season 28. Or Season 28, I should say. I actually quite like that. Now, when Anita says that she's been trying to find the Doctor going through different doors, and we only see her walk through 2 different doors to see, 3 doors technically. So the first door we see her walk into was basically with the 11th Doctor playing chess with Gagak, like in the words of the River Song from Series 6. So we do see that returning clip of Matt Smith. So it is exactly the same clip we saw for Series 6. So I like the fact how they reused that footage. And when she opens another door, there's a door. She actually walks into an alternate reality where we saw the 3rd Doctor being basically being questioned to find out that he actually is the Doctor by the Daleks from Day of the Daleks back in Season 9. So we do have that returning clip from Classic Who. And I think it's actually the special edition version that they used footage for, because it looks absolutely brilliant. Which is absolutely brilliant. Then, of course, when they do get to Unit, I love the fact how the Doctor is just there walking through the door, and they're just there thinking they're in their own reality, and the Doctor just goes, right then. And, of course, he goes, Nat, open the door. And, of course, like all the doors open, and reality comes bleeding through, and everything changes back. And, of course, we have the return of the Flinks. I quite like the Flinks. I hope he returns at some point in the show. I hope Unit returns. Well, Unit is returning in War Between the Land and the Sea, aren't they? Because we did have a trailer for that, which I do need to do a review on. Music. Well, I've noticed quite a few different pieces of music over the course of the episode, like a little bit of the Shepherd's Boy from The Giggle, which I was like, you know what, that's the Shepherd's Boy. Then, of course, we have the return of basically the sad piece of music when the 12th Doctor was, refused to regenerate in The Doctor Falls. And, of course, in Twice Upon a Time. So we do see the return of some pieces of music that that basically Murray Gold did, which was like, you know what, I quite like the fact that we have the return of music from Series 10. I think I heard a couple of music from Matt Smith's era. I'm not 100% certain. I do need to give it a rewatch again, because I've only watched it twice. So it's like, you know what, I need to give it another rewatch, because I think there was another piece of music I didn't hear. I always like listening to old tracks of music. I always like the fact where I'm literally there watching an episode, I'm there going, you know what, that's a different track. That I've heard that before. I love the new music. I like the fact how it's combined between new music and old music, which I was like, yeah, I really do enjoy. Unit looks pretty cool. When the Doctor apologizes to Mal, I'm sorry, it's the Irani. It was so nice to see that the horror on Mal's face, because again, as we all know, Mal did fight against the Irani in Time and Irani, where basically the Irani is a mad scientist that was basically trying to use the Doctor for his brain, so she could actually break the whole Heidi Gill. And of course, Mal remembers everything the Irani did, and of course, it's nice to see the return of that, and Mel is absolutely full of anger. So it's nice to see that. And of course, when she says, I don't dream of you, and she's like, of course you do, Mel. I like how the Irani recognises Mel, goes, Melody, like that. It's just like, and oh, they're watching, yeah. I like how they've basically done that, basically connecting the Mel and the Irani together from Time and Irani. So that was actually pretty good. We have the return of Susan Twist in this episode. I don't think she was in... I can't remember if she was in Wish World. But it was nice to see the return of Susan Twist in this episode, aka Susan Triad, which was actually quite nice. I love the fact how she helps build the Zero Room. Again, we have another Zero Room, because we did see a Zero Room back in Castrovalva in season 19 when the Doctor's just returned and he's trying to repair his dendrops. So that was actually pretty cool. We had the return of the Time Ring, because the Irani explains how she escaped Gallifrey from the Masters genocide and that she saw the genocide coming. So she picked up a Time Ring, and of course she basically escaped Gallifrey through the Time Ring. Omega, I've got quite a few things to say about Omega, and I will talk about that a bit of him later on. I like the bit how they're in the unit building, and of course they are literally talking about a human and a Time Lord, and of course Poppy. How can Poppy be the Doctor's daughter? And when Mel goes, well, can you not melt? Well, please, we're Time Lords, we can't melt, so mate. So it means Time Lords can't actually mate, which is like, you know what, yeah, okay. And then of course when she says that it's basically vermin, but that basically Poppy, because the Doctor's the father to Poppy and Belinda is the mother, she's human. So I like how she's very, very racist, like that, in that sort of retrospect way. Not racist, like species racist in a way. So I quite like that as well. Again, it has got some good action scenes, because I love how the Doctor basically tricked the Irani to give her, like, so you can copy a code and activate her bike. And then of course you do see him using like the scooter bike flying around trying to get to the base, which is absolutely brilliant. Let's talk about Omega. What the hell have they done to him? Russell, what have you done? Yes, I actually prefer Omega from the Three Doctors and Arc of Infinity. This is a monstrosity. Yeah, this is a very, very monstrosity. This isn't a good story. This isn't good. I don't care what people say about Omega, but that's not Omega. Omega, he's very, very insane. He's power-driven. And of course, yeah, okay, he becomes his own type of god, thinking that the Time Lords. But it's like, what have they done to him? Why have they made him like this big, massive skull? It's just like, what the hell have they done? The one thing that I was absolutely laughing at is when he picks up the Irani and eats her. So the Irani does get out upcomings because she gets eaten by Omega. Maybe that with the Doctor basically fixing reality towards the end, maybe she does survive. That she basically comes back in a Doctor Who twist, which I actually did like. There were so many cool references and musics and stuff, which I did enjoy. I like the fact when Ruby's the first one to notice when basically they're folding Poppy's coat in the TARDIS. And of course it vanishes, and basically Poppy vanishes, and Ruby's the only one to remember Poppy because of basically the events of 73 Yards. In episode, it's just like, yeah, you know what, that's pretty cool. I do like the fact they did that. I like the fact how the Doctor is just there, remembering that only one person, that's basically everyone, they all had to remind him that basically Ruby, he went back in time to save Ruby, he went to save Belinda because he basically did that time jump in the Robot Revolution. And then of course he says, literally, I love where Kate goes, and Vi, we are your children, all of us humans are your children. And the Doctor just goes, you know what, and he's there thinking how he's going to save Poppy, what's he going to need to do. And of course the only way to do it is by making him regenerate himself, apparently. So we have some really good scenes with Ncuti basically getting the energy from the 15th Doctor so he can literally try and regenerate. And then, of course, while he's there talking to himself, that's how it shows in clips of every single past Doctor, from Hartnell to Troughton to Pertwee to Baker to Davison, McCoy, McGann, Hurt, Heckleson, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, Whittaker, Tennant again. And then all of a sudden, Jodie Whittaker pops out from nowhere, which was actually quite nice to see a return of the 13th Doctor. So this is kind of a multi-Doctor story, in a way, because basically 13's there to literally talk to the 15th Doctor saying, look, you're about to do something that has took me out of my time. And I like the way how them two get on a little bit. So 15 and 13 really do get on, which is like, you know what, I'm actually enjoying that. I like how these two Doctors are really, really getting on. I also have to admit, I love when he goes, what are you doing here? And I goes, wow, I'm surprised it's not the other one who likes to keep popping up. So then, of course, I'm there thinking, Tenant or Charlton, considering that Tenant and Charlton are the main two doctors that have popped up the most. Charlton in the classic era, where Tenant is basically for the modern era. So basically, Tenant is the modern version of the second Doctor, because the second Doctor did pop up 3 times in Classic Who, which was just like, yeah, you know what, I kind of like that. I like the fact how the 13th Doctor gives the 15th Doctor a little bit of advice, and when they're goodbye, and of course the Doctor tells her that he actually loves her, and she goes, I don't actually say that. Well, you do when you're me. And she goes, I need to tell Yaz that. And he's like, oh, don't worry, you don't. But she knows it. I actually like that little bit, and of course 13 runs back into her time zone. So it's nice to see Jodie Whittaker and Ncuti Gatwa have a little bit of screen time together. I really wish they had David Tennant back as the 14th in that scene as well, so you can have 13 and 14 talking to 15. I really would have loved that. I like how 15 mentions that the fact, I think he says in the line, there's no more about bi-generation. And 13 goes, oh, what? And he's like, oh, don't worry about that. And basically he forces the regeneration by basically going into his ribs and forcing the regeneration energy. I like the energy that they use for the regeneration energy. It's so different to what we normally see, because normally it's just like this big lighting, it's just like patterns around it, which is actually pretty cool. I'm really glad the TARDIS didn't explode, because when the 15th Doctor did shoot it into the TARDIS to try and break reality, and reality does break, everything kind of goes back to normal, where Poppy's back, Belinda's there, and of course the Doctor says goodbye to them, and of course we now need to talk about Ncuti's proper regeneration scene. So I love that fantastic space shot. The CGI stuff really does work in this episode. I honestly am sad that 15's gone, because I was actually enjoying 15 in this season. I really am enjoying 15, and I think he's gone a little bit too soon. I wish we had another season. Really, I really do wish we had another season with 15. I think he deserves another season, but that's it. That is what it is. It's what it is, unfortunately. So 15's gone. I like his regeneration effect, where he's literally leaning towards out of the TARDIS, and of course he's regenerating outside with the doors open in the middle of space, and of course it's touching itself, like trying to fix reality. And then Billie Piper's face comes up, and it's just like, like that, and then of course you get straight to the title sequence, and of course it just says Ncuti Gatwa's the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's the Doctor, and then of course introducing Billie Piper, but not as the Doctor. So is Billie what's going to happen? I'm hoping that we get a Christmas special. I need to know what's going on. Come on, please tell us, BBC, we'll be getting a Christmas episode. I really want a Christmas episode. This episode, it started off really, really good. It kind of feels a little bit rushed in the middle, with Omega being easily defeated and the Irani just kind of getting eaten and Mrs. Flood disappearing with the time ring. The ending feels a little bit meh. It's just kind of meh. I mean, personally, if I could say which is my favourite finale for Ncuti, I need to have another rethink, because I had so much hope for this episode. No cameo from Susan in this episode. It's just like, what's the last 2 point of having Susan cameos? I wish we had the return of Susan in this episode. But yeah, we have 15 regenerate into Billie Piper, and I just don't know how I feel. I honestly do not know how I feel about that, because now it means we're going to have another figure for Billie Piper as Doctor number 16. Yeah, so we are going to get another Billie figure, probably by character options by the end of the year, maybe. Ncuti's outfit, I like the fact how they reused his Robot Revolution outfit, so that was kind of cool. I love the fact that we had the return of that. This episode, it's not as strong as other episodes in this season, because every single episode has been an A. But this one, I'm going to have to give this one a 7.5 out of 10, because I did enjoy it. I just don't know how I feel about Billie Piper being the 16th Doctor still. I honestly don't know how I feel about that. But I did enjoy it, the regeneration scene. I like the new regeneration effect. I like the fact we had the return of some really good music from Murray Gold in the past. But yeah, this episode is definitely a 7.5 out of 10, and it is a B-. So we are now into the B column, where the rest of the season has been pretty much of an A. So anyway, let me know in the comments, what did you thought of basically Reality War? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Let me know. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and join for some Doctor Who content.